It's Superlatives time coming out of week 4, the spot where we come up with funny and not so funny names of awards for various players to give folks a broader swath of recognition for what they did on Sunday instead of getting caught up in the obvious storyline. So with that, Chris, what do you got for me? First award of the week in the week 4 Superlative.
Well, I'll give it to the Bombs Away Award to Drew Brees. Yep, that's right. Even though he didn't throw any bombs yesterday, we don't need to. It was bombs for that offense. And when I say that, I mean 15, 20, 25-yard completions. We saw that back in the Saints offense yesterday. And with that, we saw more explosive plays. And really, after kind of getting down early, I mean, they went on a run there, tipped interception early. Lions made a good drive. It's 14-0. Brees and company went right down the field and really controlled the game. And just you look at this graphic here, I mean, you could see, 36% as compared to 20% throwing the ball downfield from 10 to 19 yards, 20-plus yards downfield. Yeah, he threw a few yesterday. And I think that's going to go a long, long way to them, not being like overly aggressive or crazy aggressive. They don't need to do that. They just have to have enough of it to scare you every week. For you just to, man, we got to defend this part of the field. It can't just be 10 yards all crushed in the middle. If they can just get a little of Emmanuel Sanders, Traquan Smith down the field, it'll just make everything else in their offense and their life so much easier. So that was a good start by Drew Brees and that Saints offense yesterday, kind of getting off the schneid and getting back to some explosive plays in the pass game.
And there's some saltiness to the Saints about the criticism of Drew Brees. Alvin Kamara had some comments last week to reporters, and I spoke to Kamara again yesterday after the game. And he said, we don't care. We don't listen to it. Drew doesn't keep himself up at night worried about it. He doesn't care. He doesn't listen. And we know that he does because he was rattling off the stats that people were pointing out on social media platforms or wherever a couple of weeks ago. They are paying attention to it. And why shouldn't you? Right. Anything you can use to motivate yourself. And if Sean Payton at some level is using it to needle Drew Brees to try to get him to perform better, that's what coaches do. And Parcells was the Sean Payton mentor. Of course Sean Payton's going to needle guys. That's all Parcells ever did.
Yeah.
So you use it to get more out of guys, and I think the criticism is one of the reasons why the Saints did what they did. And one of the things Kamara told me that, they weren't freaked out when it was 14-0 because they never got a chance to get into their offense until it was 14-0, and they knew once they got into their offense, once things settled down, they'd rack up yards and roll up points, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, they did. And the other thing I think that jumps out too, and with Sean Payton yesterday, stayed patient with the run. That's a really good offensive line. I do think the last few weeks he kind of got away with it just a hair early where you went, man, they're gashing him with Kamara and Murray. Like, why not just keep doing that? But I also think that kind of plays into when Brees does become a little more aggressive throwing the ball that way, and Sean Payton does dial up those plays to back off the defense just to a degree. That's when you see Alvin Kamara, who's just phenomenal. I mean, playing as good as any running back in football right now, and that's kind of when you see the offense at its best for the Saints.
All right, first one for me, I got your Kryptonite Right Here award. It goes to the Baltimore Ravens. Let me set the stage for this. Last year, week 3, they lost to the Chiefs. Week 4, they got upset by the Cleveland Browns. It was the only other game that the Ravens lost the entire season. This year, week 3, Monday Night Football, they lose to the Chiefs. Lamar Jackson calls the Chiefs our kryptonite, which was jarring. You're conceding the point forever to the Chiefs because Superman never could beat kryptonite. And I was concerned that it was going to take these Ravens a while to reset and reload and take care of business. That's why I didn't make them a best bet, given 13, and you got lucky. You got lucky by 1 point.
Oh, baby.
They covered.
Woo!
By 1 point, but still, they covered. And I said, if they don't have the setback, if they don't have the letdown, if they don't give into that defeatist attitude of, you know what, we know what's waiting for us in January. It's going to be the Chiefs, and we're done. If they don't give into that, they're going to be fine, and they were better than fine. Lamar Jackson was electric, almost 100 more passing yards. He had that great run where he celebrated inside the 5 and realized there was still a Washington player there.
That was close.
And he got chewed out a little bit by his head coach for doing that, but they quickly, to their credit, quickly have gotten their bearings back and they're ready to continue to do what they were doing before they had their encounter with their kryptonite, the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's right. They got back on track, and it wasn't always pretty. I mean, Washington's defense, as we saw yesterday, they're a pain in the butt. I mean, as we've seen really the whole season. So you're not going to just steamroll them, series after series after series. But I think what we saw to what you're saying, yeah, was a good sign because it didn't come easy early on. They kind of had a battle, and then finally getting in a rhythm, and Lamar makes the big play, and you start to go, all right, well, they got control of this football game, certainly. I think that was encouraging, no doubt. Bounce back win, against a team where they knew they were better than. You just didn't want them to fall asleep at the wheel and make it a close game to where, now one play and we lose or we're in a tight ball game down the stretch. The other thing, too, that I think was big is, Hollywood Brown. We saw him yesterday a number of times in the game make some field position, game-changing type plays that way. They really got to work on that. That, to me, is like the next area for the Ravens. Just in case, like you're saying, if Kryptonite's in there in January, you can't just say we're going to run the ball and smash the Chiefs and we think we're still going to win that way. That's proven that's very dicey, that they're going to have to rely on these receivers. And Marquise Hollywood Brown and that group there, they're going to have to start to really show up consistently, in my mind, for them to kind of take that next step, that proverbial next step on the offensive side of the ball, because lack of wide receiver involvement in the offense last week for the Chiefs is kind of concerning. All right, you want me to go?
What else you got?
All right.
Let's go.
Well, the same old award, the old same old award to Russell Wilson, because it was the same old Russell Wilson. He was just throwing bombs all over. It doesn't matter if he's on the East Coast, the Southeast, what?
You almost got into your old time.
I know, I did.
Movie.
Hey, sport.
Guy.
Did you watch there Russell Wilson yesterday? The champ. He was really good. Yeah, champ. What'd you see out there? I mean, yeah, Russell Wilson's unbelievable. He really is. And you just sit there every week and you go, I mean, can Seattle really go out there and throw bombs again and just win that way? Can they do that again? Somebody will take away the bombs, right? They won't do that. It's just no stopping it right now. He is freaking unreal deep ball thrower. I mean, the ball drives from the clouds, and then Metcalf and Lockett are special. And when you play those two over, or, overplay your hand on those two too much, yes, the David Moores and the Olsens and the Fred Swains of the world start to pop up to you. Seattle, this is it. Seattle, this is what they're going to do all year. Every game's going to be a touchdown. It doesn't matter. They're going to let Russ cook. He's going to throw balls, and they're going to go, yep, our defense isn't that good, but I bet you we make a play or two today that gives us one more possession. And that's what they just keep doing. The defense, yeah, they break a lot, but they get a turnover or make a play every game to kind of give their team that advantage. And, I can't doubt what I'm seeing there in Seattle right now.
That game was closer for most of the contest than it should have been. Some were saying this could be a trap game for the Seattle Seahawks. The Dolphins aren't horrible. They looked great last Thursday night against the Jaguars. They played the Patriots kind of tough. They played the Bills a lot closer than they played the Patriots, and there was a concern that there was some danger for the Seattle Seahawks. And, one of the things that caused people to call it a trap game, the fact that they had to go from Seattle all the way to Miami. I mean, you're talking about as far as you could possibly go and still stay in the United States other than Alaska or Hawaii. But DK Metcalf told me after the game, they love coming to the East Coast and playing the 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific games. They love it. They're good at it. And they think that the teams that they are playing just kind of, and it's hard to write off. How can you write off the Seahawks? But
right.
They feel like they have an edge against the Seahawks in this setting, and they really don't. And I think the Seahawks relish being able to prove over and over again that they can play these games where their body tells them it's 10 a.m., but they still go out and play as well as they do in prime time.
Yeah, whatever. I don't, the Seattle, this is what I like about Seattle. They're just edgy. That's why, like, in a year with no fans or anything like that, one thing I can count on NFL Football Sunday is Seattle Seahawks are going to show up and be ready to compete and throw their body around and be a bunch of psychos. And, yeah, they'll tell themselves lies or whatever else, but, yeah, whatever it takes. And I'm sure there is a little bit of that from the home team, though. I would agree with that. Not that I think it, really affects the game, but I think if I was a quarterback of another team and you're playing a West Coast team and a 1 p.m. Eastern start, you definitely have that thought creep in your brain, like, oh, maybe we'll catch these guys sleeping this week. It's only 10 a.m. for them. Those things do. Hopefully you don't let down as a football player because of that, but I don't doubt that.
I'm just saying the Seahawks are fueled.
They are, always.
And again, we like you said.
Yeah. They're always
even
looking
if you
for
have
something.
to lie to yourself, you do it.
Right.
And you're thinking, yeah, these guys think we're going to be easy today because we think it's 10 a.m. And they think they're going to have an easy game. And yeah, let's just go kick their butts and remind everyone that we can play anywhere, anytime, any place. We're going to compete. We're going to come out. We're going to get it done. Full stadium, no fans, whatever the case may be.
That's right.
And they just keep getting it done. All right, from let Russ cook to let Dalvin cook. I mean, it fits him even better, right?
Yes.
Let Dalvin Cook award.
Too obvious.
The Vikings changed dramatically once Dalvin Cook started getting the ball more and doing more with it. I mean, one of the reasons you don't get the ball very much as a running back is you're not doing much with it when you have it, so you're punting. You have, it's like the Randy ratio. Well, every time that our running back runs 25 or more times in a game, we win. Yeah. Good luck getting him to a point where he can run 25 or more times a game. That's kind of the battle. You kind of don't get the opportunity to run the ball 25 times if it's not working. Well, the last 2 weeks for the Vikings, a game they won over Houston, a game they could have and should have won over Tennessee, Dalvin Cook's got a combined 311 rushing yards over the last 2 weeks. 22 carries against the Titans, 27 against the Texans. And if the Vikings are going to salvage this season and make a mad dash for playoff spot number 7 in the NFC, this is what they're going to need.
That's
the
right.
guy got paid. It's the Alvin Kamara dynamic. You get your running back paid. He's no longer worried about injury risk that's on his shoulders. It's on your shoulders, and he can go out and he can play with reckless abandon. Now, he can still get injured, but he's going to go out and he's going to play hard, and that's what we've seen from Dalvin Cook the last 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks, they just couldn't get anything going. The first 2 weeks, the offense was abysmal. So, this is setting the stage maybe for Kirk Cousins to start earning his $33 million a year, Chris, because they're going to react to Dalvin Cook playing like he did last year, and with Justin Jefferson emerging,
that's right.
This Vikings offense could be fixed, which makes it easier to play defense.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, Mike, you've said it all along. I mean, you really have. You've been on this really since last year, but you've been saying it all year this year. I mean, yeah, the Vikings offense is just, if they can't run the ball, we don't know about it. But when they can, we know that they can make plays, and it sets up to one-on-ones downfield. And Kirk Cousins, I will say, yeah, he made some mistakes early on in the year, but damn, as you know, the Vikings are horrible at pass protection. So I would say he's probably getting hit about as much as any quarterback I've seen through 4 weeks. But then, he has made even some of the losses, some high-level throws where I go, damn, that's a good throw. I mean, he's done a lot of that, and especially the last 2 weeks where it's really taken off. But you Justin Jefferson, you said it. I mean, he looks like, to me, like he's a budding superstar there right now. He's got it all. And that's kind of exciting and good for Minnesota and Mike Zimmer, and especially after last week. I mean, what'd they miss? 2 days of practice last week? I mean, that's got to even be worse for Houston. You got a full week. Minnesota had to sit at home for 2 days, and they still, dominated the football game. I mean, Houston, I think we have a problem. They are in trouble. They stink, and they're I would like to say, once again, I was wrong. Tony Dungy was right. I thought maybe wide receiver by committee could help in Houston. No, they're better with DeAndre Hopkins and nobody on the committee because they can't seem to get everybody the ball in this wide receiver by committee. All right, you ready for my next one?
I am ready.
My Monsters of the Midway award goes to the Indianapolis Colts going into Chicago.
I see what you did there.
Bam! Showing who the real defense is in town. Just a phenomenal, performance by the Colts defense. The Colts defense, I think, one of those units that not like everybody in the football world, fans and everything, are realizing yet how good they are, but I think they're going to start realizing it now after some of these performances we're starting to see. I mean, this is one of the best defenses in football, if not the best. They can send, just like we've seen some of these good teams in the Super Bowl, like the 49ers last year, waves at you up front. They have a really good defensive line. They have an awesome linebacker duo in Walker and Darius Leonard, as we know. And the secondary, which was a question mark, is playing really good. I mean, Rodney, I know he talked about Xavier Rhodes last night on Sunday Night Football and everything. He's right. Xavier Rhodes lost some weight. He's a different guy. They got it going. They really do. And with Phillip Rivers kind of taking care of the ball and not being stupid that way, I'd say watch out for the Colts. To me, the Colts are one of those teams that are kind of rallying for, upper echelon, status in the AFC.
Well, you're still not sure. Isn't that funny?
I did.
Not sure.
Yes.
And you started to enunciate the CE on the end.
Right.
You were like upper echelon. Yeah. Hey, look. The Colts, like the Buccaneers, like the Browns, lose week 1. What the hell's wrong with them? And they've all won 3 in a row since then. And the Jaguars scoring the upset of the Colts week 1. They're 0-3 since then. They're back in the tank for Trevor conversation. It's just unfortunate that it's happened to the Jaguars, but that's the thing. Every game has a winner and a loser unless you have a tie. All right, next one for me. Remodeling greater than sign rebuilding award goes to the Carolina Panthers. They're making the Jets look horrible. And this is a point that we made last week, and it bears repeating as the Panthers beat the Cardinals on Sunday to move to 2-2. It is possible to be rebuilding and also competitive. And they're 2-0 without Christian McCaffrey in the lineup, for crying out loud. And look, they didn't embarrass themselves week 1 against the Raiders.
No.
They didn't embarrass themselves week 2 against the Buccaneers. And now they've won 2 in a row. And this is a team that you just have to watch. You just have to pay attention to. Teddy Bridgewater, a great story. Almost as compelling of a story as Alex Smith. Now, Teddy Bridgewater didn't face a life and death situation like Alex Smith did with his severe infection from his broken leg, but Teddy Bridgewater's mangled knee that caused players to become physically ill when it happened in a walkthrough practice on a weekday before week 1 4 years ago. Well, he was done. He was never going to be the same. He could never. I remember when he tried to play like a year and a half after that, you could tell that it was like there was a weight inside that knee. It didn't want to move like the rest. Now, it's like it never happened. The way he moved with that touchdown run he had yesterday.
Amazing.
So it's special, it's exciting, and it's an indictment of what's going on with the Jets right now, frankly, because you can be rebuilding but still go out and win football games or not lose by double digits each and every week.
Yeah, well, it definitely is like it shows, or it should show the rest of the NFL, like the rip the Band-Aid off effect to rebuild your team. It doesn't have to be that bad to where like, oh, we're going to rip the Band-Aid off and rebuild, and now we're going to be 1-15. That's guaranteed. No, they did a great job. They said, we're going to rip the Band-Aid off. We're going to start from scratch. We're going to get a lot of young guys and get some free agents that are kind of younger too and try to kind of build a nucleus and go from there. I think, first off, that was really smart in the way they orchestrated that in the offseason. And then Matt Rule and company, this is why the guy's a damn good coach and why I've been hearing his name. They play complementary football. They seem to take the right approach to give themselves the chance to win the game every week. They're maybe not good enough to pull it off, but I think how you started off, where they've been competitive every week, even in those first 2 losses, because they play complementary football. They understand what the offense is doing. Hey, offense is doing this. Defense, we need to play it this way. And you said it, with Teddy Bridgewater, some under-the-radar weapons there. They're kind of a fun team to watch, really. And good for them. Congratulations. No doubt about that.
The flip side, though, what the hell's wrong with Arizona? What's wrong? Well, I mean, they were looking great through 2 weeks.
Right.
And now they've lost a couple of games where if they were truly a good team, they'd be 4-0 right now. These are winnable games. These are breaks before you go back to that meat grinder of the NFC West.
Well, we played that clip before of Coach Dungy and Rodney. Rodney going like, Cliff Kingsbury has to manage the game and run the ball. Like, that's not going to happen, I don't think. I think like what Coach Dungy said is right. This is what they are. Their run game is only going to be more short passes, an extension, right? That's really what they want to do. Last week, Kyler Murray was too loose with the football. I mean, he cost them the game. There's no doubt about that with the Lions game. Yesterday, it's one of the films I can't wait to watch because I want to know what Carolina did. I know they contained Murray for the most part of the day. Again, didn't let him scramble other than one big run kind of later on in the game when they were way behind. But coverage-wise, it just seems like they took away all the easy throws, like all the Cliff Kingsbury, Kyler Murray. Oh, you want to play a little soft zone? I'm going to get out of my hand. Ooh, there's a completion for 5 or 6. Ooh, here's a wide receiver screen. Ooh, 7 or 8. And then they kind of hit you downfield off of that. I feel like they never let the short stuff kind of get going yesterday, and Murray and that offense had a hard time. I was more surprised by the Cardinals' defense, too, which I kept going, man, I kind of like what I'm seeing from them. And Carolina just picked them apart, to your point, with Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, everything in Carolina has been much better than expected through 4 weeks of the NFL, and I'm happy for them, no doubt.
And the other thing, too, we're getting to the point where there's enough film for teams to see what's happening offensively and defensively with an opponent. You can game plan more creatively.
Definitely.
You can have better insight. And conversely, you better be doing the same thing, and you better be self-scouting yourself and making changes to your tendencies, or you're going to get exploited. Maybe that's some of what's going on too, Chris.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think you are right, and it shows that they're staying on top of their tendencies too. So I'm excited to kind of see what they do there, and they're building something, that's for sure. All right, we got one more here. I got time for another one.
I mean, it's 8:22 a.m. Eastern time, and there's one specific player and one specific team that has not been even mentioned.
Don't give me a heart. That's where I want to go. Don't give me a heart attack. Don't give me a heart attack because Josh Allen almost got hurt yesterday. Holy cow. Don't give me a heart attack over. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me, Joshua. My boy Blue I got scared to death. End of the first half. He hurts his non-throwing shoulder, and you're going, oh no, I hope he's okay. But I mean, Buffalo, once again, just it's all in Josh Allen's hands. And I guess I'm still in amazement, as you could tell. I am, but you just see, I mean, he's just such a playmaker that way. And they don't even pretend to be like a balanced football team anymore. They're literally just like, it's a big moment. We're going to unleash the Kraken. We're going to let Allen drop back, and we're hoping we hit Stephon Diggs 50 yards down the field, but we'll take a 30-yard completion if that's side. And, I mean, he delivers. It's truly amazing what they're doing on the offensive side of the ball.
And if he does get injured, and if he can't play.
Oh, they're in trouble.
Matt Barkley.
They're in trouble.
Matt Barkley.
Yeah.
All due respect. Remember there was a time, wasn't there a time where Matt Barkley was viewed as like a top prospect? Do you remember that?
Oh,
and he ended up being drafted in like the 4th round.
Oh, I remember. I mean, he stayed in school because everybody was saying he was going to be the number 1 pick in the draft. And that's why, sometimes we shouldn't let anchors of sports highlight shows make draft opinions and evaluations. We can kind of just listen to the people that know.
Wait, who is that a shot at?
Not you. I'm just other sports highlights announcers.
But we're going to see him on Sundays. But let me say it this year, since college football is back. In every game you see, we're going to see that guy on Sundays next year. Well, not unless he's visiting your house, you're not going to see him on Sundays next year, because most of these guys are not going to be playing on Sundays next year, just the very select few.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.